Hi, everyone. We are live and welcome to Social Talks, a free virtual conference powered by Social Insider. I'm Maria, marketing expert here and the host of this live session called How to Work with Influencers to Drive Search Rankings. So we just learned from Monday in the previous session about social media data, the importance of social media analytics, and what you should measure on social media. It was a great presentation, but if you still have questions for him, please connect with him on LinkedIn and he will respond there as soon as possible, I promise. In just a few minutes, here with me will be Andy Crestodina, talking about how to work with influencers to drive search rankings. In this session, you will learn how to identify which influencers will help the most, how to construct the plan and pitch, how to get the max value from each of those collaborations. So I can't wait to learn more about this topic. So let's invite Andy. Let me see if I can find him here. So Andy, here it is. Hi, can you hear me or see me?
Hi, Maria.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
I don't see that I'm able to start video. I can't start video because the host has stopped it. Do you need me on camera?
You can be on camera, but let me see. More. Now you are a host. You can, oh, great.
Hi. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I love this topic. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you. We've been working on things together more and more this year.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
So when you are ready, the stage is yours.
Very good. Thank you, Maria. Okay. So thank you for that introduction. Maria, can you see the screen?
Yes, perfect. I can see it.
Excellent. So I can't see the chat while I'm sharing my screen, but let me know if anyone has big questions or if we need to stop or if there's an audio or video problem.
Yeah, sure.
I have been a search engine optimization practitioner for about 20 years. I've done analytics for that long. And for the last 14 years, I have been collaborating with other people on content marketing in all kinds of different formats with all kinds of different goals and outcomes. And I've really gotten excited over the years about how these things have converged. Social media, content, search engine optimization, influencer marketing, analytics, how they all sort of combined. And that is the most interesting and fun part for me. The combination of art and science, the combination of creative and technical, the combination of all the different tactics to see how they work together. Because I don't know that almost anybody anymore is just a practitioner in one channel. Most of us are combining to get different outcomes, and influencer marketing is definitely one of those opportunities. So if you put influencer marketing into Google Trends, you're going to see a big spike, right? This is what Mark Schaefer predicted years ago when he wrote Return on Influence. There's a increasing demand for this topic in search, if nowhere else. Every year we do a survey of 1,000 bloggers and ask them what they are putting into their posts. And there's a percentage of them, 37%, who are adding contributor quotes to a typical article. That is called organic influencer marketing, collaborating with other people, right? Bringing other people into your content, the way that Maria has brought me in here today and the way that a lot of us do, as you'll see. Now, the marketers who do use contributor quotes are actually more likely to report success from digital marketing. 25% of the respondents in our survey report strong results, self-reported strong results from digital, but 31% of the marketers who add contributor quotes report strong results. So they are outperformers. Images don't make you a strong performer. Contributor quotes do, statistics do, video does. So everyone does it? Nope. According to the Tracker survey, only 15% of B2B companies are doing any kind of ongoing influencer marketing programs. This is a missed opportunity. It's a big opportunity for a lot of us. So I'm gonna define it this way. Organic influencer marketing, and yes, there is paid and organic. Social has paid and organic. Search has paid and organic. Influencer marketing has paid and organic. Organic influencer marketing is about connecting and collaborating with people who've already built that audience that we want to reach. right? That's one way to think about it. A journalist is working for a paper or a media publication or a blog that is relevant to your audience, that your audience is reading. They have already built that audience that you want to reach. What is influencer marketing? It's collaborating with them in a way to get you access to that reach, to borrow that audience in a sensitive and considerate way. So I'm going to make the case that SEO has actually some powerful long-term benefits. In some cases, more powerful than just pure social media. And in the end, I'm going to show you how to combine social media. Now, this I write a lot about analytics, and occasionally Google Analytics shares the content that I create. I make a video, I write an article that Analytics somehow decided they like, and someone who manages a Twitter account shares an article that I write. Okay, this is typical. It normally looks something like this. Now, this is an account with 1 million followers on Twitter, and this is a tweet that has 32 retweets and 79 likes. Let me know with a comment how many clicks and visitors you estimate this tweet would bring. 1 million followers, a single post, call it like an average time, middle of the day on a weekday. How much traffic came from this post, from that link right there? Was it 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000? Maria, are we getting any answers, or what do you hear? What's your best guess? Traffic from this one specific post, social post?
15. Someone says 15.
15. Okay. Any other guesses?
100.
Okay. This is realistic. These are low guesses. Anyone else?
4K.
4,000. Okay.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. This Social Insider, you guys have a pretty sophisticated audience, because those first two guesses were not overestimates. It was 160. An account with 1 million followers tweets an article. That's exactly the kind of thing that paid influencer marketers might charge $5,000 for, right? If you had 1 million followers and someone asked you to promote something of theirs, you might charge them how much? Maybe a lot. But look at the actual impact. Look at the ROI. Now, there's a lot happening here, of course. I don't know how many of those followers are real, or like how engaged they are, or who follows them, just to show that they're, with other things in mind. But that is literally the analytics from that post, that channel, that day, that article, that landing page. So what I've come to conclude is that the more visible the metric, the less impact it has on your business. Sure, everyone can see the number of followers for that account. It's got 1 million followers. But that number, although super visible, doesn't actually affect my bottom line very much, right? The follower count is a highly visible, but not very important metric. Other things, such as search rankings, yeah, they're still publicly visible, also not necessarily correlated with outcomes. Click-through rate, hey, you've got to have your analytics set up to be able to track that, right? Or you got to look in your own reports, maybe a medium importance to the business. And as you move down this list of metrics, getting to metrics that are more difficult to find, you find that these are exactly the metrics that are more impact on the business. In other words, there is an inverse correlation between the visibility of a digital marketing metric and its bottom line impact. Obviously, the most important metrics even transcend marketing. There are things like net revenue and profit. How about this? Like your net promoter score. Are your clients happy? Your sales closing rate. And then up into the website content, things like conversion rate. You have to have analytics set up properly to track conversion rates, so that it has a much higher impact, but it's not as easy to report on. So this is the availability heuristic. We see these numbers, right, in social media metrics we get very excited by, but we tend to overvalue things that are easy to see. We tend to undervalue things that are not right in front of us. It's a cognitive bias that we all have to be careful of. And as we jump in, I'm going to talk about search here, of course, but I want to point out a very interesting topic that I've been studying for years and trying to better understand is the difference in intent, the difference in psychology between a visitor from search and a visitor from social, or rather, what works in each channel. Here's my breakdown. What works in search tends to be long-form content. What works in social tends to be compelling visuals, right? Text versus images. What works in search is the ability when you give a great answer to a question. But what works in social? It's about triggering emotion partly, right? In other words, your job as an SEO is to meet the visitor's expectations to satisfy their information needs. In social, your job is kind of to be a little bit unexpected, right? Meet expectations versus unexpected. And you end up concluding in the end that a visitor from search is very busy. A visitor from social media is actually kind of bored. Why? Because nobody goes to Google to browse and nobody goes to Facebook with a plan. You think about the paid channel. They are exact opposites. You can eventually, like you can look at a headline and know whether that's going to work in social or in search. You can look at a product or a service and know if that's going to work in social or in search. If you're buying an ad in social, you know everything about who they are, but nothing about what they're thinking. In search, you know everything about what they're thinking, but nothing about who they are. Do you feel the difference? It's totally fascinating. They're sort of opposite channels. And it's the skill of the content strategist to look at something and understand that has an opportunity in search or that has an opportunity in social, right? And in the end, for influencer marketing, for collaboration, right, there's also a difference here too. In search, we mostly want to collaborate with the best in the business experts, the big brains who know everything about this, because we're trying to make the best page on the internet. In social, it's really the influencers, the people who have reach, the people who build an audience, the people who get engagement. It's slightly different criteria. In the end, I'm not going to read this whole chart, but in the end, it's my personal thesis for you today that you can align the channel and type of collaboration with the goal. Some collaborations lead to some outcomes, some and do not lead to other outcomes. So we're sharing the slides, obviously. Also, I find it interesting to note that there are different levels of influencers. This is like an exponential scale, right? Some celebrities have millions of followers. And then down there, they call them, we probably should just call them advocates. I here on this chart, I call them nano influencers. But basically, anybody who can advocate for your product is influential of their network. But, you know, so we have to decide really where we're going to target here. So the celebrities, I want to make the case, is quite risky. This guy's like some famous guy. He's on a TV show. He's kind of a famous guy that way. And he's paid to post on Instagram. And look at what he did, right? He posted the product that he's paid to promote, but he posted the instructions for the product. How lazy, right? He accidentally posted the instructions at 4 p.m. Eastern time, write this, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's just laughing at him, right? Or this famous mistake done by Oprah Winfrey, who says, oh, I love the Microsoft Surface. I'm buying gifts for Christmas for everyone, sent from an iPad. So I'm not sure that the celebrities are where we should be targeting anyway. I know a lot of people think of influencer marketing as like lifestyle and travel and fashion Instagrammers. There is way, way, way more to influencer marketing than that. And I'm going to show you examples now. Specifically, the way in which they drive SEO outcomes looks something like this. I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to go to the bottom line. I'm going to work backwards from money. That's my plan. So you want to lead? Me too. This is our job, right? We're digital marketers. We have to create demand. If you want to lead, you actually, quite simply, you need two things. What are those two things? You need traffic, qualified visitors to your website, and you need a conversion rate. A percentage of those people must take action. Makes sense, right? Traffic times conversion rate equals demand, equals leads, equals sales, equals donors, equals registrants, equals subscribers, equals job applicants, whatever the goal is. So traffic actually in digital, unless you're doing ads, there's three classic sources of traffic in content marketing: search, social, and email. Search, in my experience, and in the 500 Google Analytics accounts that I have access to, tends to be the best source of traffic. Those are visitors with strong intent, and they're most likely to take action. So let's focus on search. So we're talking about rankings, right? That's going to attract a qualified visitor with strong intent. They just type what they want on their keyboard. You know what they want, but not who they are. So rankings, there's two main search ranking factors: authority and relevance, as in links and content, right? Links and keywords. This is how SEO works. You know, every page that ranks or doesn't rank, there's specific reasons. Usually it's these two things. It's not, most web pages do not have a technical SEO issue. Web pages tend to rank or not rank mostly because they have sufficient authority to rank for that key phrase or not, and they're sufficiently detailed on the topic. Relevance, authority and relevance. So now we get to the most important question, one of the most important questions in all of digital marketing, which is, how do you get links? Why does anybody link to anything? How do you get a link to your site? And my answer for you today is that there's two main factors in that as well. One, you've got relationships with people who also create content, and you've got something worth linking to, right? So I'm going to say relationships. Specifically, we're talking about collaboration with content creators. Break that down. Let's unpack that. What's a content creator? Fundamentally, there's two kinds of people on the internet. There are the people who make the internet, like us, the content creators, me and Maria, and those of us who are contributing all the time, publishing, recording videos, writing articles. And then there's the content consumers. 99% of people on the internet do not write, don't create content, never press record. They're just the consumers of content. So in my world, when I am interacting with people on social media, I'm very carefully paying attention to which are the 1%, right? These are the people that I want to connect with. These are the people that drive SEO value. The trusted stars who have vast reach and publish content, and also just the subject matter experts who publish, the journalists, the professionals, business leaders. These are my 5 for you. These are the 5 types of content creators. A lot of people call it just blogger relations. It's more than just bloggers. A lot of people just call it PR. Well, it's more than just journalists. Yes, there's bloggers and editors. There's journalists. There's researchers. There's podcasters who create content and also have show notes. They create links. And there's event producers, right? Here we are at an event. This is content. Live formats are, in fact, a format for content. So to measure the value of that potential link and therefore the value of that collaboration, tool like Moz or Ahrefs or SEMrush or Majestic or Raven Tools or whatever SEO program you like, to simply look up the authority of that where that person publishes content, and that is the strongest indication of that being a worthy collaborator, because that's the value should they one day decide to link back to you. So how do you get these people to link? How do you get their attention? I'm going to show you the worst ways to do it. You send an email that says, link to me now. I'm not even going to fuzz out the names. These people should be embarrassed because they are bad marketers. I wish they would stop. Pay me for these links. Are you serious? That is bold. You're telling me that I can buy links on these other, highly credible websites? Do these publishers know that you're selling links on their platform? I write good article for you. Literally, that's what it says. And it's in Comic Sans. They're saying that their content is good and they're writing it in with poor grammar. Take my infographic and link to me. Stacy, I don't know who you are. This is a waste of time. I think SA Tigers, please stop doing this. You have a broken link to me. Broken link building? Seriously? You're still doing this? That is a ridiculous idea. My inbox, Maria's inbox, a lot of us, it's just filled with garbage. This is what it looks like. This is what, if you're sending cold email to people, this is what their inbox looks like. You identify them because they have a domain authority in a certain range and you start spamming them. So my advice, please, please, please never send a cold email. Why would you? There's never a reason to send a cold email. Warm up that relationship by interacting with them on social media first. And if you're not sure, you can follow them, like them, comment, you can share, you can endorse, you can recommend, you can, you want to connect with a podcaster, listen to some of their podcasts, write a review on iTunes, and then reach out. Totally different experience for them. You want to connect with an author? Read their damn book, go write a review on Amazon, and then reach out, right? Their inbox is going to look very different when they get a message from you saying that you are fully, engrossed in their content, right? Now, I'm going to go fast through this because I don't think that it's a major problem for most people finding influencers. I think if you've been working in a category for a little while, you really sort of quickly know who they are. But there are tools for this. Here's one. You can type in a category or topic, and it will show you tons of people who are relevant for that topic. It will estimate their traffic levels for you. Here's another one. This is a Twitter search tool. I recommend adding a word that indicates that they're a content creator, so that you can, because those are the people who create links and ultimately will add authority to your website and help you improve your search ranking potential, right? We need to have authoritative websites, and we're trying to connect with people who will link to us someday. You can use a paid tool like BuzzSumo, which lets you just filter by bloggers and journalists. In other words, people who create links and people who create links. So these are HR managers who are also publishers. And you can just go to LinkedIn. Look, I'm looking for people who have editor in their title and who work in a certain industry. If that's my industry, I can quickly find tons of them and start building relationships. Bottom line, and this may not have been an obvious use of social media for you if you hadn't thought of this before, it's the world's greatest phone book. You can find anybody. You can imagine some super specific person and find them in 2 seconds. I once did a presentation live in person, and we just started making up criteria and finding people. How many people are talking about snowmobiling in Russian right now? Oh, 22 people. How many people love red wine within 5 miles of my office? 11 people. You can just imagine some super specific person and go find them. It's unbelievable how much access you get through this. So it's worth doing some searches. In the end, you can build a list. You can use a tool to manage your relationships with them. Those are called influencer relationship management tools. Analytica, Tracker, there's lots of these. But in the end, or do it on a spreadsheet or do it on paper. But in the end, our job is to collaborate with these people on content. You can do that with a contributor quote. You can do it with an expert roundup. You can do it with a deep dive interview. Contributor quote is you're writing an article and you're going to use them like a source, right? A journalist doesn't write an article without including a source. Why do content marketers keep writing articles without including contributor quotes? I would never write an article without including a contributor quote. Why would I? It'd be a wasted opportunity. There are no articles, almost none, on my website that do not have contributor quotes. Why would I do that? I don't write articles without contributor quotes the same way journalists don't write articles without sources. So the way that looks is something like this. I'm writing an article. I mentioned him a minute ago. Mark Schaefer. This is relevant to Mark. It's something about profile pictures. Hey, Mark, do you want to contribute a quote to this article? Sure. No problem. How does this sound? By the way, the more influential the person, the faster they get back to and the easier it is to work with them. I find it really hard to work with people that never do this because they want to email back and forth with you. How do you like this quote? And it's just like a lot of work. Like they got a bunch of questions for you. The serious influencers are very fast and very easy to work with. And when you ask them for something, they just send it to you immediately. You can tell they're ready. They're doing PR. They're going to drop everything and just send you 3 sentences on any topic. Hey, Mark, that's perfect. Thanks. I'll let you know when this goes live. And here's the article. 9 tips to nail your social media profile picture. This article ranks like number 2 for social media profile picture. It gets a ton of traffic. And it's got everything I know. You can test your social media profile picture using Photo Feeler. There's the quote from Mark. He basically says, don't tweet from behind a logo if you can help it. Putting a company as the logo in a social profile puts you at an immediate disadvantage. Interesting insights, right? Okay, I'm going to give you another example. The roundup. So if you're creating a roundup, it's basically just reaching out to a bunch of people and asking them a similar question and then putting it together into a piece. And you can see these done badly everywhere. It's like 265 influencer marketing experts, and they're just copy paste, and they're long and boring and bad. I find it more interesting to reach out to a small group and ask them the common questions to see if you can create dialogue or see how their answers differ. You get 6 people to answer the same question, then get the same 6 people to answer another question. Reading it, you really get different points of view. It's much, much more interesting. Another way is to just, while you're making an article that you think is the best piece on the topic, just get lots of other people to contribute to it. This is an extreme example. So I've been to hundreds of live events, speaking at conferences and attending conferences. And I kept a list of like tips, like, sit in the front row, all kinds of other ideas, like, get together with friends for breakfast before the conference, right? Meet your influencer friends before the conference. So it's got a bunch of tips. So in this post, I've got, look, that was Nick, that's Shayla, that's Heidi, that's Emily. There's faces in this, right? Look, this is a lot of my best advice. There's Sujan Patel is in this article. There's this fun content program I did one time. There's Steve Garfield is in this article. Kelly Gorgone, host of the Marketing Profs podcast. There's Kelly, there's Barry, there's Kathy. All of these people are in this article. I've got insights from all these different people. When this goes live, I've got all these people to reach out to and let them know that it's live. They're going to help me promote it. And in the end, what I've done is I've answered this question. How many people are waiting for your article to go live? That number must be greater than 0. If the day that your article goes live is the first day that anybody knew that it existed, you got a problem. You didn't stack the deck. You didn't give yourself any advantages. You've got a competitive disadvantage. That thing, by the way, according to BuzzSumo, was shared 1,200 times. That never would have happened if I'd written it alone. Here's another example, like a more roundups. I complained about them a second ago. This is a real screenshot. 160 predictions. Wow. Am I supposed to just land on this page and hit Control F and find my name? That's what 160 people did when they got this. I got a better idea. I'm at a conference. I happen to be a speaker at that conference. You could do this without being a speaker, but I'm on this big stage. I'm excited to talk to people, right? There's a big There's a beautiful bright area outside. So what I did was I went up to and met other speakers, or just anybody, and asked them if they wouldn't mind being part of answering a few questions on a video. And then I literally just like held my laptop up and gave them a lav mic and recorded them answering this. Each of them answered the same 3 questions. So here's their video answers combined into one video piece with their answers as text below, a little bit of value added at the top. And when you read this, right, when you go through this, Brittany Muller is asking, Dr. Pete is answering a question about will SEO die? Another way that I promoted this was I went to Quora and I found that there was a high-ranking question about, is SEO going to die? And then on Quora, I gave an answer to that question that's already ranking in Google. Then I got fellow Quorans to upvote my answer so that my answer ranks for the question and the question ranks in Google. It's a clever, kind of sneaky way to quickly rank in Google is to find a Stack Overflow or Reddit or Quora page that's already ranking and put your answer in there. So that's my answer ranking in Quora. There it is. You can see how I just simply put it together. There's nothing wrong. I mean, Quora is about quality, but there's nothing wrong with linking to your own content from within Quora. Everyone does that. It's people do it all the time. If you want to know which questions in Quora rank, then you can just go to SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever your tool is and put in Quora.com and then filter for that topic, and you will find if there are any pages on Quora or Reddit that rank for that. But anyway, that was a tangent. In the end, there's 2 kinds of marketers. Some marketers just write articles. Other marketers socialize the topic with their network, put the question on social media prior to writing, get insights from their community on what a great article and that would be, include those people in the article, and then purely social media. Watch this. Which of these articles gets the more social traction, right? It's the article that was done collaboratively. Bottom line, an ally in creating content is an ally in promoting content. Don't go it alone. This is a mistake. Why are you writing articles by yourself? If you do this, also one downside, you're not going to learn by reading your own blog. I can't tell you the things I've learned by reading my own blog, the things I've learned just through the process. I'll give you, here's another example, by the way. I'm going to tab out from this presentation and show you one that I worked on that Maria was part of. I realized that some people have a better setup, a better camera. They're working harder on Zoom. YouTubers have got great setups. Like, what does it look like on the other side of the camera, right? What do their desks look like? So I just reached out to a bunch of friends who are very good at social media, at YouTube, at virtual presentations, and asked them to send me pictures of their desks. I put Tamsin first because she's an excellent presenter, almost like a coach, and she gave me a picture of the quality, because I'm kind of making the case that, a better camera is worth it. Right now I'm using a DSLR camera. But this is a post of 27. There's Ann Handley, Joanna Wiebe, Ginny Dietrich. Look at D-Fish. My friend David Fisher's got literally like his laptop's on a board game and he's got kid toys. So this was there's Drew Davis is taking, you can see they're posing for these pictures, Rand Fishkin and Mitch Joel and all these podcasters and YouTubers. Creating this Rand Fishkin, you can tell they dropped everything to take a picture and send it to me. It's an act of networking. This was zero waste marketing. I got value from this post even before this post went live. How did I do that? Networking. I'm using content as a pretext to build relationships and deepen friendships. And the content's fascinating, right? It's really, really interesting. I realized while doing this, the pros don't really use ring lights. They're using big soft boxes. That's what Maria's got in front of her. She's got a soft box. She's in this post. So anyway, that was, I think that roundups often miss the opportunity to add a lot of value and be more than just copy, paste, copy, paste. So in the end, what we did conclude is that content optimized for search includes keywords, but content optimized for social has people. I wish someone had told me this 10 years earlier. It's not really optimized for social media unless you've got people in it. Organic influencer marketing is awesome. Collaborative content is way more fun, way more interesting, way more successful, right? There's big, big benefits. So one of the reasons why this works is that you're making something. Okay, there's 2 people. One of them decides, I'm doing a thing, draws a circle around themselves, right? I'm making an article about desks, or I'm interviewing people on video about SEO. Everyone on the outside of that circle that you just drew, that you made up, that you created out of nothing, now wants to be inside the circle. See how that works? It's not, there's no magic to it. As soon as you make something and ask people if they'd like to be part of this thing, you're not asking everyone. It's a bit of an exclusive thing, right? It was an invitation. It automatically triggers this interest, right? Because everybody wants to be an insider. There's two kinds of people in the world, insiders and outsiders. Perfect, right? Because we're on Social Insider. Everybody wants to be an insider. So it's just an important way to remember how one of the ways in which influencer marketing works very, very well. I'll give you a more specific example that has a more specific SEO outcome. This is a website that sells cheese and has recipes. I'm going to use SEMrush to find which recipes on this website are ranking high. I find a bunch of sauce-based recipes. Cool, I'll filter for that. I find a bunch of #1 ranking recipes. I'll filter those out. Oh, look, here's all the sauce-related phrases for which they don't yet rank #1. Look at this one. Cheese sauce? Jackpot. They rank #3 for cheese sauce. That would be an amazing phrase. Look at the volume. Look at the volume on that phrase. Okay, let's go confirm the rankings. There it is. Okay, now I'm going to turn on Mozbar to see if other sites are linking to this. Okay, this is fascinating. The #1 ranked site, 175 websites, 40 websites linked to it. #2 ranked websites, 28 websites linked to it. The #3, that's our client, that's my friends. Nobody has ever linked to this page. Wait a minute, it's doing that well, obviously in terms of relevance, without any links to it, zero authority, zero direct authority going to that page. I bet I could get this page to rank higher if I could just get a few other sites to link to it. Now I've asked a really interesting question. How can I get bloggers to link to my cheese sauce recipe? It's a pretty basic page. It's an excellent article. It explains everything you need to know. This is a great cheese sauce recipe. So I'm going to look for collaborators. Let's go to BuzzSumo. If I just want to collaborate with people with a lot of social followers, that is a very temporary value. You saw 1 million followers from Google Analytics led to 160 visits total. So let's focus on this side. These are people who write for high domain authority websites. I'm looking for not just Instagrammers. They don't make links at all. Instagrammers don't pass any authority at all. The benefit of an SEO, there's zero SEO benefit from partnering with an Instagrammer, right? There's no links in Instagram. It's not, and Google doesn't count social media links anyway, right? I'm looking for bloggers, journalists, podcaster, event director, researchers, in this case, cooking bloggers. So I can see all of their domain authority. Now I'm going to come up with a program. You would just make it up. The cheese sauce challenge. I'm going to pick 5 chefs, all of whom will write for authority websites. I'm going to have each of them create a recipe on cheese sauce to try to improve on my recipe. We're going to all taste all of each other's cheese sauce recipes. We're going to vote on or decide or review each other's recipes. We're going to all publish content on all of each other's recipes. Boom, links, right? They're going to link to me. That's the whole program. And that's and one winner. So there's all kinds of different programs like this. I'm going to show you another one here. This is a really sophisticated influencer marketing, SEO focused content strategy by a company called Databox. They send emails like this. Again, exclusivity, get featured. Heck yeah, I'm going to open this email. They want to feature me? Yeah, please. Shpela says, get featured in 4 upcoming posts. I think that you could just maybe replicate this entire strategy potentially. Even use an email very similar to this. It says, would you like your insights included in our next roundup? If so, click on one of these links and just answer the questions. They're little surveys, right? And then they say, hey, this is what it's going to look like when it's done. So these surveys look kind of like this. They're going to give me, I'm going to give them all my basic information. They will link to anything you put in that little box. Then they're going to ask me for my advice. What's the one effective way for XYZ? And then they're going to ask me a couple of survey type questions about data. What's your conversion rate? What are your most important? What are the biggest factors on conversion rate? What are your social profiles? Okay. And then this post goes live and they let the contributors know, hey, That post you contributed to is live. Would you mind sharing it? And they give me links to help share it, right? Because I contributed. Now an ally in creation is an ally in promotion. And here's the post. 27 marketers share proven ways for improving conversion rates with website forms. And as you scroll down this page, you'll see it's not copy, paste, copy, paste. First of all, they got their data into a visual format, which makes it just way more shareable. And as the article itself is written in sort of a journalistic style. It's detailed. It's long. It's not just copy paste. It's analysis, like it's written as a narrative. And then my response to them is that I instantly upvote, share, like, comment. I'm trying to help them, right? I'm trying to promote the article that in fact includes me anyway. And so I might send a screenshot of how I shared it, or let them know that I'm grateful for the collaboration. Because in the end, I hope one day through many more collaborations that Maria and I can say this for each other, friendship is the ultimate outcome of organic influencer marketing. It's like, hey, how do you get someone to share something? Well, I just send them a quick text message, or I message them on WhatsApp and ask them if they wouldn't mind sharing it, because I know them, because I'm friends, because we always help each other. Friends help each other. So is that just an obvious thing to say? Make friends. It sounds so simple. And when it's done, you're going to show some gratitude. I have been on lots of podcasts, lots of webinars, and I can tell the brands that are really serious about this, because like this one sent me color branded chocolates. That was nice. If you're going to send a thank you to someone, don't just send an email. Look at this. Tom Bowen, we sent a client to him. The client hired him. He sent us ice cream sandwiches for my whole team. They were made out of donuts. It's like a donut that they cut in half and put ice cream in the middle of. People here were freaking out. They were so good. I'm going to send Tom a handwritten thank you note, but I'm going to make it a quick one because I just took a picture. I got this trick from Brian Burkhart, who never sends, the click to happy anniversary, happy birthday. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of noisy, right? In that social channel to just say happy birthday every day to like whoever's birthday it is. Not really high touch, not very intimate, not very human. Why don't you do something personal for them? Take a picture of yourself telling them happy birthday, or just send a handwritten thank you note. If you want to be in the top 1% of marketers, just do what 99% of marketers never do. It's called the forgotten inbox. Just write a handwritten thank you note, right? I wonder if anybody, let us know in the chat, when is the last time you wrote a handwritten thank you note? Was it in the last 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year? Probably not going to be a very I'd encourage everyone to consider doing this, because it's like, this is typical, right? Oh, marketing is so hard. It's really tough to break through the noise. Oh yeah? Ever tried to do what nobody else does by just using an analog format and licking a stamp? No, never thought of that. Maybe you should try. Not hard, not expensive, not time consuming, and totally different, immediately differentiated. I have a conference that I do every year, and I ask the best speakers I know to come present. The conference is on hold because of COVID, but I got Ann Handley to speak. And Ann Handley, after the conference, sent me a handwritten thank you note. Look, she's thanking me for letting her speak at my conference. Ann is a marketing celebrity. She's an expert. Her content is just fantastic and so engaging and so disarming. And I've learned so much from her. She was like a mentor. She didn't know it, but she was a mentor when I first started content marketing, because she'd already been publishing for a while. As soon as Content Rules came out, I read it. So what is Ann drawing down here? This weird little bird? Yeah, I made Ann, I bend wire together to make a little skeleton and then layer on pieces of plaster and paper towel scraps to create tiny dragons. I made one for Ann in the shape of her logo of Marketing Profs, this little blue bird. This one is a chicken. This little guy's got wings. Yes, it's weird, I know, but I make these little paper mache things sometimes for my team, little dragons, little dinosaurs. Mark Schaefer, it's a thank you gift, and it's different, and it's weird, and it's a lifetime thing, right? It's a little desk dragon. Mark's going to have that on his desk for years. That's me presenting the dragon to Mark after he keynoted our conference, which is Content Jam. And there he is. Those are the logos those are the colors of his website. Look how happy he is. It was a pleasure to have him be part of it. So This is an interesting idea that I got from Andrew and Pete. Andrew and Pete are fantastic marketers. They are in England, and they do some really interesting collaborative work. They were creating a webinar, and they wanted to get at their webinar some big names. So the obvious idea would be to start small and work your way up. Nope, that's not how they did it. They did it a different way. Instead, they started straight at the top. And they said, here's an invitation for Michael Stelzner, the founder of Social Media Examiner. And they already had some kind of general buy-in from a couple other people before they sent this, but they did not wait to contact Mark. They did this very early in their process to create their online conference, which was called Rule Breakers. And they sent Mike this PDF. It's like, hey, Mike, this is why you're perfect. You are ideal. And the lift, by the way, very small. We're not going to ask you to share this. We're not going to ask you to promote it. Nothing. All you have to do is show up and share your best advice, 30 to 60 minutes of your time, anytime between now and April or May. You're going to be speaking alongside these amazing other speakers. Not sure how I got mixed in there. So what's the call to action? Are you a rule breaker? What do you say? Drop us a line. Mark says, yeah, or Mike says, yes. Mike Stelzner is in. That big name. You got John Lee Dumas, you got Kim Garst, you got Sue B. Zimmerman. Look at this fantastic, Vivica von Rosen, Amy Landino. So their idea was that it's easy to get little guests, and then you have to kind of keep amping up, put more and more effort in to get the dream guest. But like dominoes, right? Exclusivity, people want to be insiders, people want to be part of things. Like dominoes, if you start with your dream guest, you can get other big names with much, much less effort. Don't you want to be part of this thing, right? I'm starting this thing. Do you want to be an insider, right? It's not. We're not asking everybody. It's kind of exclusive, just to you. It's a light lift, not going to be too hard. So you can imagine just how effective that would eventually be. Look at that. Adobe wants to update my Flash version. Super annoying. So anyway, something goes live, and I want to let people know that that I'm open to contributions. I'm open to collaborate. Here's an example. You've been making friends for a while. You've included other people in your stuff. And then one day someone offers to put you in their thing, right? Hey, do you want to collaborate? Do you want to be part of this? Sure. So I give Dennis a quick contributor quote. He puts me in this article about running experiments. And who else is in this article? James Carberry. James runs some awesome podcasts. He runs the B2B marketing podcast. And so I reached out to him on LinkedIn and I said, hey, James, looks like you and I were in the same roundup. I thought I'd reach out here. Boom. James is now a connection. Then he responds, great to connect, Andy. Is that the end of the conversation? No, it is not. What did I do next? I said, yeah, I like that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, if you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all, just say the word. Next response. Hey, do you want to be a guest on our podcast? We'd love to have you. Thanks for reaching out, Andy. Hey, James, be an honor. Drop me a line. We'll figure something out. Then he sends it to me, and then I'm on his podcast. How did I make that happen? Remember that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Inception, where they put thoughts in people's brains? That's what I did. How did I do it? With these simple words. I want you to steal this idea, use these words, use them all the time. This is like a classic sign-off that I use everywhere. LinkedIn all the time, every day. Don't hesitate to reach out if you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all. It's just letting them know that you're open to collaboration. In that moment, they're going to see that, they're going to read that, they're going to think for 1 second about like, oh yeah, could I include Maria in that thing? That's how Maria and I started working together. We were both just kind of on each other's radar and looking for opportunities because we were in touch around that time. So I write that so often that I use a text expander. Watch, I'm going to type the letter I 3 times. I. Boom, it just expanded. If you'd ever like to collaborate on anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm literally using a text expander. So all I have to do is type that abbreviation and it expands to say that full text, right? That's textexpander.com. You can buy that. It's like $7 a month or something. I use it all the time. I've taught this many times. I often get amazing feedback. It's rewarding. 2 people have taken me up on it so far. Really, really powerful. Okay, one of the next things that I want to suggest is that visuals are a key ingredient. So you've been collaborating with people, you're trying to get a link from someone, and when that person reaches out and says, hey, would you like to collaborate with me on my post? That is not, by the way, quick side note, I was practicing this presentation once before a conference, and my wife said, "Why did you choose that famous cartoonist, Seth from Family Guy, in your presentation?" I'm like, "Who's that?" Like, "Oh, I just went to Google and did a Google image search for guy labeled for reuse and found that picture. He looked friendly, so I added him. Turns out he's actually like a very famous person." I didn't mean to put a famous person in this, but I left it in because it's kind of a funny story. So the next thing I do, apologies. The next thing I do in most cases will be to just look up to see if that's an authoritative website. I'll probably collaborate with them anyway. I basically say yes to everything. Why wouldn't I? But there is some value in checking their domain, checking their authority first. Next, I'm going to look to see if I have any content on my website that really needs the boost. I'm actually tracking this to see if I have any articles that would benefit from a link more than others. I know which articles almost rank high. I know which articles are declining in rank. I've got a YouTube video about how to do a content marketing audit, and it shows you exactly which articles need the love the most. As long as you know which articles need the love the most and you refer back to that list, look, this is an old screenshot, but I continually update this. And then when you get the opportunity to collaborate, I track that, the domain authority, the URL. So I suggest a contribution on that topic because I get to reference that article, and a link to that article will help a lot. It's like laser focused. So then, yeah, sounds great. Sure, here's my contribution. It's in an email and it has a visual, it has a diagram. It's really hard to optimize content for search if it doesn't have a diagram because it's much harder to build a link to it. If you put original diagrams and charts in your content, it'll be much easier to build links to it because when you contribute to other people's content, you can put that image into the contribution, and below the image is going to be a link back to that piece. So the piece goes live. This is the image. This is the image contribution, and down here is the link. To prove to you how powerful image source link building is, I'll do this live. I'm going to go to Moz. I'm going to put in my own website. I could have made a slide for this, but probably more fun for you guys to see me do this stuff in real time. I'm going to go to the anchor text report. And these are all the text and all the links to my website. Image source, 52 websites have linked to my site with the text image source in the link. Image source link building, guys. And it happens, it's a combination of those two things, relationships with people who create content, opportunities that you've got through friendships and through networking. And then when you give the contribution, do it for exactly the post that needs a link the most, and do it with and add the image to the contribution. The editor is very unlikely to remove that link to your website. I could give you 100 examples of how I've done this. The other thing that I think is basically influencer marketing, although it's not often discussed as such, is guest blogging and PR. What is guest blogging? What is PR? What is pitching? It's about influencer marketing. It's about reaching out to someone who's built that audience that you want to connect with. That was my definition from the beginning. Organic influencer marketing is about connecting and collaborating with people who have already built a network that you'd like to reach, borrowing that audience in a sensitive and considerate way. Again, the red shirt writes 2 articles. That's nice. The blue shirt also writes 2 articles, pitches one to an editor. That's going to link back to their website. That link is going to be in the body text, in the image source links, in the editorial, and if nowhere else, it's going to be in the author box. And then this collaborative content marketer gets a link from an article from another contributor, right, for their blog. So they've got more content associated with their brand. Round 2, 4 blogs. Nice job, buddy. But look, more content, more relationships, more links, greater social reach, greater search value. That's what great web marketing looks like. These people are doing the same amount of writing, but one of them has a collaborative mindset and is doing influencer marketing, winning in social and winning in search. So these are very, very powerful ways to do it. You can actually find opportunities to contribute just by installing Mozbar in Chrome, turning it on. When I took the screenshot, it wasn't working. But it'll show you the domain authority of every site that ranks in Google search results. Then just put in your topic and the words "write for us," and you'll find tons of blogs with high authority that are looking for contributions. I still recommend reaching out to the editor and building a bit of a relationship before just pitching. No reason to ever write a cold email, but there's lots of publishers that need your insights on their blog, in their content. So don't miss that opportunity. When it is time for the pitch and you've warmed up that relationship, I'm I'm going to share with you one of the most effective pitches I've ever seen. This is Aaron Orendorff, who came on strong out of nowhere and within 2 years was a very popular, very highly regarded blogger because he wrote for all the biggest websites. He's like writing for like, Harvard Business Review and like major publications all over, right? The biggest publications, Inc. and Entrepreneur and, all of basically everybody. And the way that he'd pitch sounded like this. He'd write a beautifully crafted article using the paragraph length, the word count, the header, the subject, or the subheads, the header, the headline, contributor quotes, the use of data, the use of images, and craft this beautifully put together piece and share it with them in a no work proposition. I made this for you. Here it is. And all you have to do is say yes. Because guess what? Editors do not want to go back and forth with you 11 times to work on a headline. They just don't like doing that. It's too much work for them. A lot of these people get like 20 pitches a day. Let's ask Maria later how many times she gets pitched a day. It's probably a lot. Her inbox probably looks just like what I showed you. So anyway, yeah, guest blogging, it's still popular, it's still powerful, it's still effective, it's still fun, it's still great networking, it's still good for your writing. Whatever you heard about guest blogging being like, a negative, don't listen. To this day, guest blogging is a really important part of my strategy. In fact, guest videos. I'm doing videos for other people. I'm going to do soon another Moz Whiteboard Friday, right? You get the opportunity, don't miss it, to create video content for someone else's program. So in the end, my suggestion to you is that we get beyond social media marketing and use social media for networking, right? There's a lot of people that just think social media is about dumping links on the internet. My job in social is to promote content. Every post I make has links, and I just want to build a big audience on that one platform. But actually, the organic influencer marketer is more of a networker that finds the influencer that has massive reach and connects with them maybe on several different networks because they're trying to build a relationship. They're not just looking at traffic and branding. They're looking for relationships and friendships. So yes, of course, content promotion, you can measure direct benefits, but actually it's the indirect benefits that I think are the greatest glory for the content marketer. So maybe we'll leave time for a question or two. This is the end of the deck. I want to close by, maybe it's not surprising to say, to all of you, anyone, anywhere seeing this in real time or recorded years from now, don't ever hesitate to reach out if you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all. It's the most fun I've ever had in marketing. That was it, Maria. What do you think?
Great. I loved your presentation. Now it seems that I can't share my screen because I've made you the host, but doesn't matter.
There you go. You're welcome to share. I just turned off sharing, and can I give you back the host?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect. Hope people can see me. So I loved your presentation. You said, you mentioned the type of influencers. You mentioned the cold emails. Stop sending those cold emails. Because there are a lot of ways you can connect with people. You can like their content, leave a comment. Right. I don't know, connect with me on LinkedIn because I'm super active there.
Yeah. And then start interacting with them. Start interacting on their comments, on their content. Start commenting on their posts. And pretty soon they're going to know you, right? This is how friendships are made. So I really don't understand. I still don't understand why people send all those cold emails. I'm going to take a quick look at my inbox. And just since I started presenting this morning, there's 3 of them here. Why? That's in the last hour. It's terrible. Exactly. I really wish people would stop doing that.
And I also loved the part with the roundup articles. I love them.
I do too. They're fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But they're done badly sometimes, right? Have you ever seen like these sort of lazy versions of a roundup?
Sometimes. But I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
If there are more questions, please let us know in the comments below. But someone is asking, how much does brand awareness, personal branding influence these collaborations?
A lot. If the person that you're reaching out to has a much larger personal brand than you, you're going to need to go a little slower. You just need more patience. You need more touch points. You need more time. there is nobody that's outside of, that's, I mean, with enough time, you could connect with anybody in theory. But if the closer you are in the same level of platform and reach and personal brand, then the faster you can go in the outreach. It's like they might already know you, or you might already know them, and you can just say, hey, do you want to do this thing together? Let's, it'll take about 10 minutes. How about we can talk about it next Tuesday? No problem. But if they're, it's the fame to speed ratio. The more famous they are than you, the slower you need to go.
Yeah, exactly. And what tools do you use to get the emails of influencers collabs at Orbit Media?
I've never used a tool to get emails. I would just ask someone their email. Mm-hmm. So by the time I'm ready to send someone an email, we're already talking through messages. So probably it looks like this on LinkedIn. Like you're on LinkedIn, mm-hmm. You've started a relationship, you have some basis for talking to each other. You're having a conversation about a piece of content in the comments, and then it moves into direct messages. And then if there's some reason to talk, hey, I have a podcast, would you like to be on my show? I'm running an event, would you like to present? I'm writing an article, would you like to contribute? Yes, sure, sounds great. Cool. Drop me a line and we'll move this conversation over to email. I've never sent an email to anyone that didn't want an email or wasn't expecting an email. No, I don't send cold email.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing the same for the podcast. First, I connect with people on LinkedIn, and then if they are okay with the podcast and if they want to be part of it, I ask them to give me their emails.
Yeah, that's the question suggests that they use a tool to scrape email out of LinkedIn or something, which I've never tried. Maybe it works. It doesn't sound very fun.
Great. So, Andy, thank you so much for your presentation. I will send the presentation to everyone who's here with us now. So where can people find you? Should they connect with you on LinkedIn?
Sure. Yes, please. LinkedIn's a good place. By the way, I have changed LinkedIn so that the big blue button says follow. But if you want to connect with me, just go to more and find the connect button. There's a reason I have it set to follow right now, but that doesn't mean that you need to do that. You can still just connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. I write an article every 2 weeks at orbitmedia.com, which is where you can also find a picture of Maria's desk with all those other desks. And the book, Content Chemistry, is all my best advice for content marketing. It's on Amazon.
Great. Andy, thank you so much again for your time and for your presentation. It was very insightful and I loved it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.